Hello everyone, this is Crota coming on Antigua Shipyard. Should be a great, interesting matchup. Let's go ahead and get this game started. Byung spawning as the red Terran player here at the 5 o'clock position. Meanwhile, full cross spawns here on Antigua Shipyard. TSL Revival spawning as the blue Zerg. Zerg versus Terran in this series, I believe. Actually, I don't know what this series, how many games are in the series. So let's just go ahead and talk about the Terran versus Zerg matchup, especially on Antigua Shipyard. As of late, it really feels like Zerg players have really gotten a hall pass on how to micro or how to macro in this game while getting the bare amount of defense. Queen's very, very effective at both forms of harassment that Terran players can normally utilize. Hellions and Banshees. So a lot of the times Zerg players feel very confident taking a quick second and maybe even a third base. You will see Byung now scout out with this SCV. SCV will be rounding the corner and perhaps be setting up a barracks on the front door. Yes, it looks like it will be a low ground barracks instead. So a low ground barracks here on Antigua Shipyard instead of a high ground barracks and a quick scout. We are going to see a drone make its way out, and the drone is just more of a cautionary drone, making sure that there isn't some sort of proxy barracks play, as it looks as though we are going to be following this up with a double 11 racks here on Antigua Shipyard. Very, very interesting strategy, and we'll see what exactly can go down here. The barracks is going to be about 2/3 of the way completed. This barracks about 1/3 of the way completed. The drone will catch sight of this, and then most likely we will see a lot of Zerglings and no gas established by Revival, as Revival really cannot afford to try and Revival cannot really afford to go for a metabolic boost that early. He needs to get the spawning pool down. Looks like he will be getting that down right now, and then it will be Zerglings against Marines. One SCV also doing a push out, and we'll see if Byung is gonna have enough Marines and SCVs to actually deal some damage here. Drone now just holding center at the Zelnaga Tower. A second SCV and a Marine now joining in on the fight. Overlord is in the air. Drones most likely will be coming down. Most likely we can see a bunker established here. That is a very, very nice position. The problem is that a Queen, if trained, can easily take out this location here. SCV goes up the ramp, takes a look around, no bunker being established. So we'll see if it is going to be established by the second SCV and the Marine. SCV now wandering around spawning pool, about to be completed. It needs about another 5 or 10 seconds to go. The SCV needs to lay down a bunker, but where is it going to be established, as there is one bunker here, and now SCV is coming back. Are they going to be able to get off enough repairing is the question. Excuse me. SCV now repairing another SCV off over here. A drone now trying to make its way over. A lot of drones will be coming off the mineral line in order to establish or attempt to take down this bunker here. Zerglings now making their way over, and the Zerglings doing a little bit of the dance. SCVs taking a lot of that damage. Drones now doing a bit of stutter step. 3 Marines. Are the Marines, where are they going to go is the question. They need to perhaps get into a tight position and able to somehow pass through all of those units. The Marines are trying to fight back against all these drones, and Revival, even though he is going to clean this up, is going to have a little bit of problems because so many drones are currently not mining. 16 SCVs, 17 drones. A lot of drones are pulled in order to fend off that attack there. If you take a look at the total losses, 230 versus 175, but the income of Terran much, much higher until the drones start to add to the mineral count. Command center coming in from ByunPrime. We'll see if enough damage was dealt, as the Zerglings are now going to perhaps try and test this front door. 2 Marines only on this front door. That does not look good. Zerglings will be able to easily run by there. You need like 3 to 4 Marines if you really want to be able to fend off any attacks here. And now in come the Zerglings. The Zerglings, Marines now trying to battle it up. One group goes down. 2 more Marines now just make their way out, but they were rallied into the wrong location. But those Marines offer just enough support, as we now see Marines and an SCV coming around the backside. This is really bad news, as Revival needs to figure out what he's going to be doing here. We can see that the Zerglings are going to try to come in, surround. SCV is in a weird situation here. The Queen coming off the hatchery will be able to clean up these Marines in the center. How much damage was dealt? 18 drones versus 21 SCVs. Mules still being called down, as a second command center now being completed and a third command center now being started. So ByunPrime now transitioning this into a double refinery play, And we'll see if Revival is off his game enough. There is a lot of Zerglings, and Revival looking to just press out and clean up with these Zerglings. All of these Zerglings, we're able to finish off a lot of those units there. Marines now being forced to run all the way back. Is there going to be enough Marines is the key question. Byung is a bit behind. SCV now trying to make its way over barracks, and oh no, no barracks established at all. So the Zerglings were able to get there just in time, and now Byung is in a little bit of trouble. SCV's now coming off the mineral line. SCV's battling it up, and we'll see who comes out ahead. SCV's against the Marines. The Marines doing a great job shooting down the Zerglings. The SCV's doing a great job just being a wall, and Revival now behind this did 2 very, very heavy rounds of drones. So Revival now takes the lead as he has 35 drones compared to 20. Worker kill count 8-4. Byung, after all that harassment, ends up losing more workers in that final defense there. Another 2 barracks needs to be established on this front door to fend off the attack. But one of the benefits of Byung is he is running off of 3 command centers. If Revival overplays his hand or thinks that he's in a very strong position, he is going to be surprised that he is not. 3 orbital commands, training up triple SCVs and calling down mules, more than enough to close in on that economic gap. Harvester count, we see that there are currently 40 drones, 9 larvae ready to go, and they are all being trained straight into Zerglings. Marines now making their way out. That is going to be a bad maneuver by Byung. Byung going to try to see what he can see, spot what he can spot, and he's going to spot a flood of Zerglings surrounding and tearing apart these Marines. So Byung, with those 3 mules now, should have a strong enough economy to keep up and keep pace with Revival. You can see that there's triple SCV production. We are going to be getting about 12 SCVs a minute. The Zerglings, there you go, going after those Marines. The Marines just getting surrounded, backs up against each other, but still not enough as the sheer number of Zerglings takes them down. The front door finally being completed here. A 4 racks front door. Zerglings and even Banelings would have a very difficult time trying to take this down. As the Zerglings, all they can do now is sit on the bottom of the ramp and wait for these units to pull out. We are going into Infernal Pre-Igniter Research, Blue Flame Tech, and Blue Flame Hellions. Very, very effective against all of these Zerglings. The key question will be, when will the attack be happening? And Revival thinking about striking now. You can see 25 Banelings just beyond sight range here, and Byung is going to be in trouble. That is more than enough to handle this front door. If Byung thinks that he's in a good defensive posture, he's going to quickly find out that he is not. In comes the Banelings. Banelings going after 1 barracks, another barracks. Oh, Mega taking down the Banelings. They're simply just going to be walking up here. Are the Hellions going to be able to deal enough damage as some Banelings and Marines are battling it up? The Hellions are up on the high ground, and here we go. Hellions going and dealing a lot more damage than I expected to these Banelings, but the Banelings find their way inside the mineral line, and there you go. A lot more workers were killed, and now Byung in a bit of trouble as he is now, Byung in a little bit of trouble. He's down to 32 SCVs. Zergling's gonna quickly eat through that number once more, now down to 27. And also, Revival did spot that 3rd base. This 3rd command center that Byung has been hiding inside his base, it will quickly be countered. He also spotted the Hellions. He spotted the tech lab, and the reactor most likely knows that Blue Flame Hellions are already out if he didn't see a Blue Flame earlier in that engagement. And now it's going to be up to a couple of Hellions to try to finish the job. All of these barracks were taken down rather quickly. Not quite sure why these barracks weren't destroyed. It would have allowed for easier access into the base. Barracks now being established, creating a very nice wall here. We'll see what will be established here as the Hellions make a bit of a move. 6 Hellions with Blue Flame Tech should be able to clean up a lot of Zerglings, but it is going to be spotted very easily by all of these creep tumors. Revival now transitioning into roaches, knowing that the Hellions are not going to be able to deal that much damage to those roaches, as we are also going into Tier 2. Tier 2 infestation pit already being built. Roaches, glio reconstitution. Roaches will be able to move almost as fast as Hellions when they are on creep, and that is always a very, very good sign. One of the reasons why roaches want to keep on creep, and one of the reasons why Zerg players want creep so much, being able to get to the party early and get proper position is very important, as Byung now behind 83 to 99 supply. 47 SCVs, 53 drones. Let's take a look at the workers killed, 26 compared to 4. So you would normally think that Byung is very far behind if you take a look at the worker kills, but Byung isn't in too bad of a shape. He has been training triple SCVs. He needs to continue training more SCVs if he wants to stay within this game. His harvester count now at 51 compared to 56. 7 more drones coming in for Zerg as the Marines and the Hellions once again caught in an awkward position as the Roaches finish off many of those Marines, and now these Hellions being forced to retreat once more. We're going into siege tanks with siege tech. We are going into double tech labs on the factories, and also going into a reactor on the starport. And medevacs should be coming in momentarily as the Roaches are still pushing their way across the map. Roaches look to perhaps push into here. Supply depots will be raised to finish this off. Hellions could do a bit of a run by and perhaps catch a lot of these drones over here. These destructible rocks have not been destroyed. There's a quick scanner sweep. All of these creep tumors will get taken down in just a second. And now in comes some Roaches. The Roaches look to get some shots off. Take down 1 Hellion, take down 2 Hellions. And Revival doing a good job just making sure to keep track of where those Hellions are and minimize the harassment. Revival now looking to go for a macro hatch inside his own base. He is currently down 9 supply in this fight, and the majority of that is in workers. 53 workers compared to 78. And that is not a good sign. That means that the Terran player has the larger army by far. Zerg, on the other hand, does have these infestors. Infestors, if they are not melted away by the siege tanks, will be very effective. Byung still does not have combat shield on his Marines. He does have stim, and he is now starting to get the engineering bay in order to do double training on those infantry units. Already about to finish level 2 weapons upgrade. Infestors and Roaches now pushing out. Siege tanks do have siege tech. This is going to be a strange engagement. Hellions now just torching here, and that's not going to be good as the siege tank gets off an easy couple of blasts. There are still 5 infestors. These infestors need to be very careful as Revival decides to back off once more. Still down 20 supply for Byung, but Byung is on 3 bases compared to a soon 4 for a Zerg. 58 workers versus 80 now, and now Zerglings knocking on the back door. Do the Marines know? The Marines do know all of these units are just trying to take down these rocks. Marines now making their way down, gonna get off some easy shots here. Infestors may try to come in down the front door as the couple Marines do fight back against all of those Roaches on the low ground. Revival, if he's careful about this attack, should be able to deal a lot of damage. Throwing down infested Terrans to absorb a bit of damage first. Zerglings now swarming in. Here we go. Where are the Hellions? The Hellions are not far enough inside this game, or far enough inside this battle to actually make that much of a difference and torch down all of those Zerglings. Roaches now trying to push in. The Marines are going to be able to push back here, and Byung, in a much better defensive posture than Revival immediately thought, is forced to pull out as he is down now in supply by about 58 SCVs versus 80 drones. And even still, Revival should be able to re-macro up his army now that he has his 4th base and his 5th base up. Revival up on 2 bases, not fully saturated though. We are at almost the 19-minute mark in this game. Both of these players could already be at max food if they didn't exchange a little bit of an army, and now it's up to Revival to hold off the next attack. Marines now looking to push in. 2-0 upgrades. There's a fungal growth dealing a lot of damage to those Marines. Another fungal growth could have finished it off as we are now going into the Ultralisk Cavern and Crackling upgrades. Crackling's very, very nice, able to attack so quickly, tear through Marines, especially when they don't have that much armor. The movement speed upgrade for those Banelings also coming in as the siege tanks look to slowly push up the ramp, siege, and perhaps destroy some creep tumors. Infestors deciding to pull back. Zerglings still off over here once more. Marines gonna battle it up, and there you go. Zerglings trying to swarm through. Are they gonna be able to deal enough damage? The Marines are just all split. Many of them are not fighting right now. As you can see, Byung able to push back all of those Zerglings rather easily. And now with 32 Marines down here on the low ground, he should be able to stop this hatchery from mining. Zerglings still dancing back and forth. Byung still up by about 19 supply. And we'll see what's going to be happening next. Revival has 7 infestors. Those infestors could be able to get off 2 fungal growths each. if they are able to position it correctly. We'll see what will be happening next. There is a hatchery off here still, that no units mining away from it, so it is going to be 4 bases to 3 in just a second, as Zergling's now going to walk around the far side, and here we go. Needs a push forward. Is it going to be enough? Yes, it's going to be enough to perhaps get some damage onto these Hellions, but the Marines are pulling back, and all of those Zerglings taking a lot of damage just because it was revealed by the Zelnaga watchtower, and Byung responded to it well. This one hatchery will get taken down. Broodlings will come out, perhaps able to even take down some of those Marines. Yes, some of those Marines all taken down there. Siege tank doing the last bit of splash damage. Siege tanks, 4 siege tanks in the center, holding a 19 supply advantage over Revival. Marines trying to do a drop off over here, but Revival quickly counter responds, or responds with an own fungal growth. More Zerglings now coming in from behind. Revival going to clean up this drop rather easily. Byung still has a lot more yes, Byung still has a lot more supply right now, but does he have enough workers? 61 compared to 74. We can see that the Ultralisk Cavern just about to be completed. Zerglings and Marauders going to make their way off over here, and we perhaps need to see a tech change into Ultralisk, or perhaps even a tech change into a Greater Spire, as Byung does not have any Vikings at this stage in the game. Double training or double building of command centers for Byung. You can see now Zerglings hiding off over here, or Broodlings hiding off over here, going to finish off these Marines, and Byung now takes a decisive lead here on Antigua Shipyard after being behind by a fair amount of food. Infestors off here, they were able to get in some damage. 48 workers killed by Revival, but he's still somehow behind in this game. Harvester count is better, but where is he getting off all those kills? Oh my gosh, infested Terrans here and here. I was looking inside the main bases, didn't see the infested Terrans just being... okay, so let's go ahead and catch this. So 2 infested Terrans off over here. The infested Terrans cleaning up off over here. Now we see another group of infested Terrans hatching off on the bottom right-hand side of the map. Infestors, a fair amount of them, also looking to just clean up all of these SCVs, and Revival getting back into this game. This is going to be very difficult for Byung to get back, as all of the infested Terrans are going to even perhaps take down some of the production buildings. 0-3 upgrades on these infestors, but it doesn't really matter, as the 0-3 upgraded infested Terrans are still dealing a lot of damage at this point. Some supply depots are going to get taken down. The Marines are not going to have an easy time taking them down. And as we see the game just go on, one command center trying to be built up. It looks like some of it will get destroyed. And now down to 637 hit points. Another one off over here will be completed. And now Revival taking a decisive lead in the overall economy. 73 drones compared to 21. After some sneaky infestor play. Command centers are being added. We are trying to upgrade to orbital command here. Byung perhaps should be starting another build here. Also setting up some missile turrets to make sure that these infestors do no more damage. A command center down over here has been destroyed. A new command center now being, orbital command has already been established, as we are now going into another tech lab. A Raven finally being established, but has Revival done enough damage, or will Byung be able to get back into the swing of things? 198 supply versus 156. One burrowed Zergling here is going to prevent any landing orbital command. Infestors still making their way off. We are going into level 1 weapons upgrade for all of those infested Terrans. You can see that there is also one missile turret on the ground, and oh, these units did catch it. They perhaps caught the little bit of the ripple. All the infestors getting destroyed without really being traded at all, and Byung gets lucky catching those units off guard. However, Ultralisk checked now with Kaiser Blades at level 3 and Ultralisk with base 6 armor. Those Marauders are only dealing 20 damage per attack instead of 26, and that is going to be huge. These Ultralisks are going to be very, very beefy. They can't be slowed down, and what's worse is that these Marines are only going to be dealing 3 damage in attack. Fungal growth hit across multiple medevacs. Another fungal growth could hit him again, and this is not looking good. All these Marines and the Marauders need to perhaps get fungal growth once more. Ultralisk still getting caught up on themselves, and here we go. A nice fungal growth comes in. Siege tank's going to melt away many of these Ultralisks, though, as the Ultralisks are forced to pull back. One Ultralisk does look like it will go down to 2 hit points, and barely survives as it retreats back home. Siege tanks, Marines, and Marauders once again trying to hold the center. income looking very, very poor for Terran. Meanwhile, Zerg still bringing it in. And now we're going to be getting about 30 some odd food worth of Zerglings. Drones now being transferred over here to the bottom left-hand side. Revival is in a very good position, sitting at max food and knowing that he can bust out and trade at any given moment. Medevac off over here. Byung sees this rather large army. What is he going to try to do? The Medevac could just now fly off to the north, and here we go. It is going to be a drop inside this base here. Revival doesn't have very much, as Zerglings now taking down the starports. And the starports, as they go down, will hurt, as he needs Ravens in order to detect those infestors. The infestors could come back to haunt him. Byung now cleaning up all those units there, but another medevac here. Oh, Fungal Growth does hit, and the Zerglings and infested Terrans should finish off that one medevac there, as the Zerglings still going after more and more units, perhaps going to take down a starport. The crackling upgrade has been completed. It is taking its toll across multiple units, as the Marauders now making their way off over here. Scanner Sweep does reveal all of these Zerglings. The one starport looks like it will end up burning down, needs to get an SCV over onto repair, but Ultralist now flooding through the center. Revival looking so strong, gonna slice through so many of these Marines. And with chain fungal growth, these Marines have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and not enough room to stutter step. There are a couple infestors in the air, 116 versus 67. Oh, beautiful Seeker missiles, taking down multiple units there, but is it going to be enough? Byung now only has three Raven for his army count, and 3 Ravens and a couple Marines and Siege Tanks. Let's take a look at the overall army. 1 Siege Tank, 6 Marines, 3 Ravens, 1 Marauder, 7 Medevacs. Taking a look at the army composition of Revival. Revival at 118. Harvester count, 7 versus 71, as the Zerglings have once again started to fall to the hands or to the Marines, but the Zerglings dealing damage back to those SCVs. SCV count now in the single-digit area. So far into this game, Byung is in trouble. Now, Byung hoping to perhaps establish another base somewhere else. Zerglings now going to just swarm in and continue to pressure off here at the natural, or the third base here. SCVs trying to run away. Also, Mules attempting to run away, but all of that mining time is being lost. Byung at about half the supply of his opponent. And that is never a good situation to be in, as we now see Revival with a hatchery here, and here. So Revival still running up on 3 bases, soon to be 4, as the Zerglings decide to back off once more. More Ultralists being added. It looks like Orbital Commands calling in Mules in the center portion of the map should be able to get a nice boost in his economy, but is it going to be enough, as once more Zerglings going after this third base since the destructible rocks are down. There's the GG by Byung, as the Ultralists do make their way out. Marines, Marauders, and Ravens too much for the Ultralists, and that is the GG game 1 in this series, as Revival takes it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.